guys, what is up? Today we are going to be going through one of my favorite decks. It is a Danian deck. Oh, by the way, this is for Chaotic, the trading card game run by 4Kids TV, the one that canceled. Yeah, so I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite decks. It's going to be a Danian build. It's one of my most powerful decks, has some of my best cards in it. It's made into a 10v10 format, so 10 creatures, 10 battle gear, 10 Mujiks, 20 attacks, and 10 location. So let me stop talking and let's get right into it. So I haven't really named the deck, but I'll just show you the cards in the deck, and I'll show you the format and stuff. It doesn't really have a name. I just call it one of my favorite Danian decks. Maybe I'll come up with a name later on. But we're going to start off with Elna. He has 70 energy, Earth, and he's got an ability. When he's in the discard pile at the beginning of combat, activate Hive. This means once he dies, I don't have to play Mujic to pay for Hive anymore. And if you're a Danian player, you know how good Hive is. Hive is like, it's amazing. It activates creature abilities that buff your guys. So that's cool. He's equipped with Maxor's Torch. What this does is I can sack it to deal 25 damage to Marillion or minion of my choice, which is cool to have on Elna, because Elna, I want him to die. That way he can trigger his in-discard pile ability, which is activating Hive. So I might as well keep him with a sack battle gear, which can deal 25 damage. So say I let my enemy kill Elna, but I got my enemy down to 25 health. Boom, Elna's dead. Sack this, kill the enemy, and then still have Hive activated. It's an awesome ability. Next up, we got Emil. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. He's got a great ability. When Hive is active, if freaking Elna's in the graveyard, which it would be all the time, but if not, I have an ability on Maharan, one of my mages, where I can just pay a Mujic to activate Hive, and I've got Mujic for that. He's got Hive. He gains 5 energy and 5 to all disciplines for each mana board you control. Now you're going to see how powerful this is, because I have a Mujic card, which I can pay 1 Mujic to make all my creatures Mandiblores until the end of turn. So, 10 creatures on field. By the way, this is a Danian only deck, so that's 10 Mandiblores, right? Because it makes all Danians Mandiblores. So 10 times 5, that's 50. He gains 50 energy, so he's sitting at 105 with Hive on. 105 energy, and plus 50 to all of his stats. He's equipped with Citadel Fragments. These give you 5 energy and 5 total disciplines for each element you have, and he has 3. So he gains an additional 15 to energy and 15 to all disciplines. So we're sitting at plus 65 to all disciplines and energy. 65 on top of 55 equals 60 equals 120 about energy. That's massive. If you play Chaotic, you know how massive that much energy is. So that's an amazing form-up. Next up, we have probably one of the most powerful Danians in the deck, and you'll see how he comes into play when actually, running the deck. I'll show you the strat behind this deck as well as how the deck is built, so you can build this deck yourself if you buy the cards. Next is Agrino Jaldar. I don't know if I said his name right. I'll get that so the camera can focus on it. I got a shitty camera. Anyway, I'll read his ability. So he's got a cool ability, which is when Hive is active, he gains 5 energy for each Danian you control. Every single creature in this deck is Danian, so he gains 50 energy. 50 on top of 60, this guy's sitting at 110 just from activating Hive, which again, I activate every turn because of Maharan. I make sure in this deck, Hive is active on every turn. So, put him down. And next up, we got Macromel, a very famous Danian. This guy's got a cool ability. You don't need Hive. That's the cool thing about Macromel. You don't need Hive. Oh, my bad. I forgot to show you his battle gear. Danian Carapace. It's kind of blurred, so I'll read the ability. When a equipped creature deals damage to an uninfected creature, infect that creature. If a equipped creature is destroyed while engaged, destroy any battle gear equipped to opposing engaged creature and equip Danian Carapace to the opposing engaged creature. Basically, if I die to someone, my battle gear goes to him. But that's extremely unlikely, seeing at 110 energy. He has no elements, but I have Mujic to give him every element that my creatures control, which I sit on air, earth, and water. I don't use fire in this deck. So that's really cool, because that means when I deal damage to people, I infect them. And you're going to see, because of Maharan's ability, how that makes this deck so powerful, and how I can recycle Mujic with this deck. And that's the board so far. Next we got Macromel. He's got an ability, gains 5 energy for each day in control, so he gains 50, 50 on top of 45. He's sitting at 95, but he's actually sitting on 85 because of his battle gear. He also gains 5 energy for past creatures, but I don't have any other past creatures in this deck, so it won't come into effect. But I have Almar's Projector on here. It basically gives him another life. Equipped creature loses 10 energy, so he's sitting at 85 starting energy. If a equipped creature loses combat, return it to play in an open space on your side of the battle board with no music counters unique. So I can only have one of these in the deck, but that means once he dies, he just comes right back. But guess what? Since he comes right back without the battle gear equipped, he'll be back at 95. So I basically have 2 Macromals on the field. It's so OP. Recap. We have a 70 sack, we have a 120 Elementalist, and then we have a 110 Infector, and then we have a 85-95 just Strength guy. He's equipped with Air and Earth. So these are all here to keep my enemies at bay away from my next 6 creatures. I got another copy of Elna, but this time, since I don't want to sack him to get his ability, I equip him with Lark Shard. This means if he has Earth, this is a very unique battle gear too. If he has Earth, it gives him 5 more damage onto every attack. Not Earth 5, that's the specific part. It gives him just 5 more damage on every attack. So let's say I play a 15 generic damage card, 5 damage. Let's say I play an attack with no damage, it deals 5 damage. So it's just an additional 5. When you shuffle your attack deck, destroy Lark Shard. Another Nimi, and another Citadel Fragments. So I got another really bolstered Nimi, but this one is not sitting at 120, he's sitting at 110. Alm Quad. Very OP character. He's got an ability where I can pay a Music, deal 10 damage to our creature, and Alm Quad gains 10 energy. He's got 2 Musics to use this ability with, but I also equip him with Mepedian Balladeur's Flute, which gives him another Music. I reveal this battle gear at the beginning of the game. It also gives another Music to my enemy. But what this does is, Alm Quad's sitting at 3 Musics. I play as an ability for 3 Musics, he gains 30 energy. He'll be sitting at 85 health. And he's got air and water. 85 health. It's awesome. Also, it deals 30 damage to a creature. So say he's got a mage that's sitting at 30 on the opposite side of the field, or I just want to finish off someone from a battle. Boom, 30 damage. Alright, next up, we got Tassinal. Tassinal is my Elementalist. He's got Water 5. He sits at 45 health, but look how he gets bolstered. Hive. Tassinal gains 5 energy for each elemental type possessed among opposing creatures. That's a gamble, but the highest that can be is 20 health. So he can get bolstered 20 to 65, but averagely it's around, let's say, 2. So he'll be bolstered around 10, so 55 health, approximately. But the highest he can go is 65. He counts as a Mandiblor. He's unique. He also gains 5 energy and 15 power because I equipped him with Elementus Pauldrons. What this does, it also gives him, if he's an Elementalist, it gives him each elemental type possessed from creatures I control. So he's sitting with water, air, and earth, and around 65 health. He's cool. He also carries a Music, so it's just a cool Elementalist that I have. Kalanju, very important to my deck. He's got a Music counter, infect target unaffected creature, hive while infected, Kalanju gains 30 energy. That'll bring him up to 70. So I just pay Music, he's at 70 health. It's pretty dope. Vile Liquid Thought, I just put him on him because he's one of the bat creatures. He's not even in the actual fights, so I can just use his battle gear if I need to get attacks back. And you'll look at my attack deck later in the video, and you'll see some OP attacks. And what Vile of Thought does is it sacrifice it and return an attack card from your attack discard pile to your hand. If you do, place 1 attack card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. I can recycle 1 attack card. That's dope, because I've got some OP attacks in here. Some people make their attack decks 2s and 1s and 0s, with not too many 0s because they only have a couple 2s and mostly 1s. That's cool. You have a consistent amount of damage you're dealing. But some people like me like to gamble. They like to throw in a lot of 0s and then some 4s and 5s, or maybe 3s and stuff, and deal a lot of damage every once in a while and keep their guys protected. I keep my guys with high health and wait for the good attacks to roll in, and mostly use musical abilities. I rely on element attacks in this deck. I don't rely on stat checks or stat challenges because those are gambles. I also don't use stat fails. I just rely on their elements, and I share their elements with each other That way I can always deal good attack damage and generic attack damage, which is the attack which you don't need elements to deal. Lastly, we have Maharant. I equipped him with Shoutout. What it does is equip creature cannot be the target of abilities, and this battle gear begins the game face up. So what that does is it means if someone tries to deal damage with me with their musical ability or tries to stop my ability, it won't affect me whatsoever. Maharant has when an infected creature is put into a graveyard, he gains a Music, and he can spend a Music to activate Hive. This is how I use Maharant to play Musics and to keep Hive on. Now you've seen my creatures and how OP their energy gets with Hive on. So what I do is, the strat behind this deck is I take a Grino, and I attack with him every turn. So every turn I attack with him and I deal damage. If you remember his battle gear, Danian Carapace, it infects creatures every time I deal damage to them. Now since he's 110, he's probably going to win the battle. And if he doesn't, I can use Omquad's ability just to deal damage, or I can sack Maxor's Torch just to make sure he wins, right? Every time I kill an infected creature, therefore his enemy, Maharant's ability plays into effect, and he gains a Music. Now I spend that Music to activate Hive. Now this is a cycle. He kills infected people, I gain Music, I activate Hive to help him kill more people. See how that's a cycle? But that cycle's cool as a plan B. But my plan A is to get Elna dead. If your enemy already knows this deck strat, then go with plan B. But plan A is try and get Elna dead to have Hive constantly activated. That way, the Music that he gets to Maharant you can use on different abilities, or you can use on your Music itself. Which is cool, because now you've got a cool bank. You've got a way to gain Music from Maharant to use it activate Hive. You can use it on your actual Music and save the Music on your other creatures for their own abilities. It's a cool way to bank Music. This deck has basically got enough Music, to do the game twice. It's amazing. That's the strat behind the deck. Kill infected guys, give Maharant Music to activate Hive, and keep them strong. So, a Danian player's dream is to have Hive activate every turn, and I found a way to do it. Maharant and Danian Carapace on a really OP guy works every time. Doesn't have to be a grinder. Now we go into Music. I've got Rhythms of Rage. This is cool. It's a 2 Music. Target Mandiblore, and I have a Music to make everybody Mandiblore, so it doesn't really matter. So basically, target Danian gains Outperform Courage 5, doesn't really matter. If it is infected, it gains Earth 5. If Hive is active, it also gains 15 energy. Hive is always active, so I can bolster someone with 15 energy, and I can give them Earth 5. And if they're infected, like Kalanju, he loves to be infected, that's when I give him Earth 5. Sorry, if they're infected, they gain the Earth 5. I usually use this for Kalanju because he has Earth, and I always infect him, give him the health bolster. So I usually play this on him, give him Earth 5, give him 15 energy. It's a good thing for him. I've got Domestic Hiveheim. I've got 2 of them. Now, remember, in Chaotic, you only have 2 of a card in a deck. Target creature gains 10 energy. If Hive is active, that creature gains an additional 10 energy. As you know, Hive is always active. 1 Music to gain 20 energy. Amazing. So I keep those in. 1 Music, every creature counts as a Mandiblore. This is good for Nimi's ability, for other abilities where you gain Musics depending on Mandiblores, you gain effects of Mandiblores. Also, I'll show you attacks that this comes really handy in. I wish I could have 3 of this in a deck, because I really need more than 2, but what are you going to do? Danian Element Coral. It's 1 Music, target creature gains all elemental types possessed by creatures you control. So again, Earth, Air, and Water. I use this usually for Grino and Maharant, because they're the only 2 with like no elements whatsoever. Song of Stable Shields. By the way, I have 2 of those. We're sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're on our 8th Music. This is also why I love playing 10v10 format, because you can have 10 Music. Alright. Song of Stable Shields. 2 Music. Music and abilities which would raise or lower target creatures' disciplines have no effect. Now this doesn't really matter, because again, I don't work on disciplines, but this is good to fight against people who do work with disciplines. Now I don't care what my disciplines are on my creatures, because I don't use it for my attacks, but say someone's trying to lower mine, that way they can beat me in a stat challenge. Play this, and no they can't. 9th Music, Elemental Elegy. Play 1 Music, choose target creature. If it has at least 1 elemental type, it loses an elemental type of your choice until the end of turn, otherwise it cannot move until the end of turn. Take an element away that someone's relying on, boom, there you go. Now this is the best music in my deck. It's Strain of Infection. Now what this does, it doesn't cost any music, but it is a music itself. It doesn't cost any music counters, but uninfect up to 3 infected creatures. Target Danian gains 3 energy for each creature uninfected this way. Do you know how awesome this is? I've checked the rulebooks, and nowhere does it say when a creature dies, it gets uninfected. Therefore, when a Grino kills all the infected guys like I talked about from Maharan's ability, there's a bunch of infected guys in his discard pile. I'll uninfect them. I can uninfect up to 3, and then put a music onto any creature on my field. Who do you think I'm going to put it on? Omquat. If I put 3 more music onto him with already 3 music, play all those 6 music, he gets plus 60. On top of his 50, he'll be sitting at 105. It's amazing. Most of my creatures on this deck sit over 100 HP, which is just awesome. Like half my deck is over 100 HP. I think that's awesome. So that is my music. I'll just play that here, show you. I'll just put them here to show you. Yeah. And by the way, I have exactly enough music counters on my guys to play every music in my hand. Now, obviously, I wouldn't do that in the beginning. I'd wait to farm a little bit music with a Grino, but yeah. So I have just enough music on all my guys to play every single one of these musics and all their counters, which is, I think, is awesome, because I don't really look at it as spending music anymore. I just look at it as playing cards in my hand, because I never worry about, not running out of music, which is awesome about this deck. All right, now we move on to attacks. Like I said before, my attack deck in this deck, that's a mouthful, is mostly hard hitters and a bunch of zeros. So it's like, it relies on hard hits, but mostly just 0 cards. Like 75% of this deck is, I think elemental, no, I think 75% of this deck is zeros. I can't remember the exact numbers, but anyway, let's just get right into it. First card, Mandiblor Might. This is cool. Like I said before, with my Mandiblor music card, I can make everybody Mandiblor, and then basically what it does is deal 5 damage for each adjacent Mandiblor card you control, which means everybody around the attacker. So say I'm attacking with, Nimi. 5, 10, 15, 20. It does 20 damage every time if I play the music. If not, it's lower. But 1 counter for 20 damage, that's awesome. Next up, Symmetry Slam. Deal 5 damage for each element you share. Muge's Edge. Your engaged creature gains 10 courage, power, wisdom, and speed until end of turn. If your engaged creature is a Muge, deal 10 damage. Aftermath Feint. If your engaged creature is defeated this turn, draw 2 attack cards and discard 2 attack cards. Good way to get to the good cards in deck. This is probably one of the best attacks in the deck of mine. We've got Heptagon Hail. It does 35 base damage. Each creature controlled by an opponent gains music. That's the only downfall. Once I play this, every single creature he controls gains a music, but it does 35 damage. It's awesome. Ultra rare, 4 counters, but that's like an insta-kill on a lot of creatures, or that's half of the battle. Reckless Approach. Deal, if the opposing engaged creature has recklessness, deal damage equal to that creature's recklessness value. This is a great 0, because if you use this against Mepedian, ooh, you've done a lot of damage. And if you use it against Underworld, it's also effective, if people rely on recklessness. Another Symmetry Slam. Then you've got Tarantula Tackle. 10 base damage, 15 earth damage. Destroy all battle gear equipped to engage creature with less than 50 power and speed. Obviously won't play that if my stats are that low. Tecto Strike. 10 base damage, 10 earth damage. Stat check courage 60, deal 10 damage. Now these are Danian creatures, you know their courage is high. I think most of them are over 60. Then we got Reactive Resolution. This is a good card. What it does is it does 10 base damage, challenge courage. This is the only stat challenge in the game. Like in my deck. Most of my deck is just base damage and zeros with abilities, but some of them have extra stat checks or whatever, but that's not the base of the card. This is the only card that really relies on challenges. Challenge courage 15, deal 5 damage. Challenge speed 15, deal 5 damage. If you win both challenges, deal 15 damage. So this can deal 10, 20, 35 damage. Really OP. Her game, 10 air damage, lose air for the rest of the turn. Minor War, another really good one. It deals 5 damage for every element, so elementalists do a lot of damage. Deal an additional 5 damage for each music on your engaged creature. So let's say Maharan's fighting, and I gave him all 3 elements. He's doing 5, 10, 15, 20 damage, and he's got a lot of musics on him. 20 plus, say, 3 musics, 15. That's 35 damage. It's really OP. Magician Steal, it's a 0, but if you have water, you can steal a music from the opposing engaged creature. So you don't deal any damage, you just play this and you gain a music from your enemy. That's awesome, I think. I have 2 of that in the deck. Super rare, super awesome. Liquescended Swirl, 10 damage, lose water for the rest of the turn. I got 2 of those. And then Infectious Impulsion. If the opposing engaged creature is infected, deal 10 damage. Also has 5 earth damage. If you're using a Grino, that's 15 damage for a 0. That's pretty impressive. I've got 2 of those. And then I've got 2 Sundergrounds. Yeah, they're 10 earth damage, and you lose earth for the rest of the turn. So that's the attacks. Now I'm moving on to location. First location, Oipun's Lookout. Initiative Courage. Creatures with air gain earth. If Hive is active, Danians gain air. So Hive is always active, so all Danians gain air, and therefore all Danians gain earth. So if I play this location, all my Danians gain earth and air, which is awesome. I've got 2 of those. Mount Pillar, awesome location. I almost put this in just because of the role play of it, but no. It's got Initiative Wisdom. When it becomes the active location, activate Hive until end of turn. Awesome location. I love it. New Mid Voidland. This one is scanned energy, and as you know, well, minor around minor. I was gonna say, as you know, they go over 100, but that's not scanned energy. So yeah, it's fair game between the enemy and you. But at the beginning of combat, engaged creature loses all elemental types and gains 10 energy for each elemental type lost this way. I can just play my ability to get 3 and gain 30 energy, which is pretty cool, I think. Especially when a lot of my attacks are base damage, but they do rely on elements a lot, so it's half and half. It's okay and it's bad. The Darkened Dunes. This is awesome. You always win initiative on this, because guess what? There is no initiative. And you know the rules. If you tie an initiative with an opponent, and it's your location, you immediately gain initiative. So creatures with Earth have range and Swift 1, which is cool, because you can attack 1 layer further, and you can move faster on your turn. But yeah, so just a bolster for Earth, and you immediately win initiative. Now, for these next 3 locations, no matter what the circumstance, I will gain initiative, because of the fact that they made these initiatives based on the fact that maybe people were making mixed decks, therefore they wouldn't always have one tribe attacking, therefore it'd be a 50-50, but I have all Danians in my deck, which makes these locations really OP, because every initiative is Danian for the next 3 locations. So we've got Mepetian Mirage, we got 2 copies of Mepetian Mirage, and what it does is all creatures gain Swift 1, and has a Mirage ability, which means once we finish battle, this goes on where we battled for, and it plays the effect until another Mirage opens. If a creature can move into the space, it must do so. Initiative Danian, I immediately win initiative and get first attack. Even if the enemy creature even if the enemy creature is Danian, because you know when you tie an initiative, you immediately win it. Imaginary Walls. Initiative Danian. When this becomes the active location, your opponent may return a magic card to their discard pile to their hand. Attacks deal 10 less damage to Marillion and minion creatures. The Infectorium. Initiative Courage. At the beginning of combat, deal 15 damage to infect and engage a non-Danian creature. So all I have to do is pay 1 magic and I've dealt 15 damage. Or have them already infected. The North Range. Initiative Courage. When the North Range becomes the active location, choose a tribe. All creatures also count as that tribe. Mirage. Creatures in this space count as all tribes. And that is the deck. Yeah, so basic strat for this deck, I'd say attack with the Grino, sacrifice Elna, activate Hive every turn, build up your music counters, use musics accordingly, and have fun, man. Yeah, that's the deck. Hope you liked it. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, post them in the comments below. Yeah, I'm going to be posting more I do have more decks. I think I have 5 more decks that are pretty okay, but this is my best deck, and this is the deck I'm most proud of. I've worked long and hard on it, and yeah, thanks for watching.